It's Wednesday, August 28th, 2013. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Attack on Titan.
Let's do this.
The other day, Emily was kind enough to buy some tickets, and we went with some friends to go see Potted Potter, which was supposedly...
They've been advertising the fuck out of that everywhere.
Yep, but I read some reviews, and people seem to have good things to say about it, and I'm not a big fan of the Harry Potter books, but I'm a big fan of reduced Shakespeare and those kinds of things. So I figured, all right, this appears to be a 70-minute summary of all of Harry Potter. That could be pretty good, and it's selling out, and people seem to really like it.
Possibly good. Well, it's advertised everywhere. Could be contributing, and the fact that it's Harry Potter.
Yeah, but...
I'm surprised it's not, like... Is it actually, like, legal? Like, did Harry Potter endorse this shit?
Well, parodies are pretty heavily covered by the First Amendment.
Yeah,
in fact,
but they're calling it Potter, right?
Exactly.
And charging money. I don't know.
Yeah, but regardless, so we went to see it, and I'm not going to say it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, because I did, in fact, see a man die once.
Great digital target?
This was it
was bad.
I'll tell you what. It is bad.
It is so bad.
It is so bad. It is hard to express how bad it is.
You can't
What
even
I will
breathe.
say is that in the 74 minutes of this event, maybe 5% of that was actually Harry Potter jokes. And the rest was the performers mugging for the audience and making meta jokes about how they don't know anything about Harry Potter.
Really?
Really.
You think the whole thing would be Harry Potter jokes, even if they were bad ones?
It was the most superficial you could be and still even be close to being Harry Potter. It was literally like every joke was a one-note joke and then the same meta joke. If you haven't read the books, have you? Ha ha ha. The acting was bad. The interaction was bad. The stage setup was bad.
How did they get enough money to advertise all the fuck over town?
So it keeps selling out, right? And the audience, you know what it played like? Imagine bad children's theater. Like, imagine cosplay chess.
Yep.
Or, I don't know, any cosplay event at a convention.
That shit's popular.
Other than the judging of costumes. So any cosplay skit, any cosplay
How were the costumes
event,
and sets and things?
Non-existent. Awful.
Oh, okay.
The worst. It was a terrible thing. It's going to Boston now, so I encourage all of you out there, if you even think or know anyone who might think that they might want to go see Potted Potter, just slap the tickets out of their hands and tear their credit card up.
If they like cosplay chess.
Yeah, if you like cosplay chess, you will love the fuck out of this Potted Potter. But
or the cosplot at the Masquerade.
It was not as good as the cosplot at the Masquerade.
Whoa, that is seriously bad.
I'm actually going to say that.
The cosplot is unintelligible.
Yes, but the cosplot at least had a pretty well-acted Skeletor.
That guy Skeletor was pro, MVP Skeletor.
That Skeletor was better than anything that happens.
They should have just made a short Skeletor show, and that would
I would watch a periodic 5-minute webisode show that was just that Skeletor.
That might exist.
It might. Potted Potter is an abortion.
Okay.
Or
it should be.
The sad part is the audience
it's a baby that's not doing too well and needs an abortion.
The audience was about 3/4 adults about my age without children who seemed equally unimpressed.
Oh, really? There wasn't a large applause?
There was a large applause, but the people in the, basically the other quarter of the audience was families with little kids, and all the adults, almost without exception, were people who obviously do not commonly go to the theater. They were taking the playbills and going like, oh my God, a playbill, ooh, and just listening to their conversations. Yeah, Potted Potter's great if you've never seen a mediocre cosplay chess before.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think your cosplay chess.
Sure. Okay, so I don't really have a news right now. So what I'm going to do is I did, however, find some time recently to read some of the comics that have been piling the fuck up in my apartment.
Oh my God, I'm barely working my way through the Adventure Time
I get
comic.
a whole box of comics fucking every month at my doorstep, and I can barely read any of them because I'm too busy with other geekeries, but I read through all basically the single-issue floppy comics and a couple trades. So among those single-issue floppy comics, of course, most were right? Or not as bad as Potted Potter, but, not good. And there were, of course, some gems. And I want to talk to you today about The Gemist, right? Written by none other than the most heralded comic creator, perhaps, of Geeknights.
You know, it would be fitting if this were Gem, the comic, but I know it's not.
Yeah, no, Jeff Lemire, who the person where we, the must-read of all Geeknights.
Jeff Lemire is one of those people, he's one of those people that we love everything they do without question, and it would take a lot of bad works coming out of them for us to stop loving them.
Anyway, so Jeff Lemire's latest comic, A Sweet Tooth, ended, so his new vertical comic is Trillium, right? So I pick up Trillium, and I just start reading it, and I get to the title page, which is page 2, and I notice that there's 2 sets of credits, and they're sort of upside down each other, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I sort of flip to the back, and I realize there's like an upside down, it's a flip book, which is, they do a lot of that on Free Comic Book Day, where you put one cover on one side and one cover on the other side, and you flip the book over, and basically there's one comic that reads and ends in the middle, and another comic that reads and ends in the middle, that way you get 2 comics in one book, right? And I'm kind of glad I didn't buy this in trade so that I could get the flip experience, because when I got to the middle, this is not really a spoiler, it's actually the same goddamn comic book. It wasn't 2 in 1. And it's called Trillium, so I wonder what the fuck the third thing is. This might be the best, just based on this one issue, right? This may be the best comic Jeff Lemire's done ever.
I was going to say, Jeff Lemire, so how would you rate it on the scale of Silver Surfer to Saga?
It's not as good as Saga.
I thought you were going to say it's not as good as Silver Surfer.
And I like Silver Surfer a lot, but it's better than that. So,
All right.
But yeah, if you're reading comics and you're already reading Saga, you got to read fucking Trillium. I mean, seriously? Come on. It's probably the second best comic made right now that's coming out in stores today.
All right.
So, there you go. And it's, the one half was sci-fi and the other half was like Indiana Jones type shit.
But anyway, things of the day. I'm going to cop out. We're finally doing the Attack on Titan. I'm going to get a bunch of the best Attack on Titan mashups out of my system and never talk about it again.
All right. Miffy, is that still the best one?
I don't know. I made one with Emmanuel Yarborough, so I'm linking to that one.
Great.
And I guess the ones I like the most are the Adventure Time one. Not the one you're thinking of.
I like one that uses children's programming.
Yeah, I like the Adventure Time one. I like the Pingu one a lot.
Pingu one is like number 2.
Yeah. And the one that I'm making privately, I'm going to find out if our friend Scott Johnson listens to the show, because I have this video of him playing DDR with other Scott in our apartment, and none of us had shirts on. And I'm going to mash that up with the Attack on Titan opening.
Okay. So my thing of the day, in Japan, at the offices of, I believe, Shogakukan, which is probably the biggest manga company publisher after Shueisha, which is the Jump company. Shogakukan is number 2. They got friggin', 20th Century Boys and all these other, Urasawa works there. All kinds of great comics come out of there. And they have an office that is mega old office. The office is I think it's in Osaka, near where, Tezuka and all those people, originally did comics way back in the day. So this is the historic manga office, but it was just too small. So they had to get a newer, better, more modern office, and the old office is getting knocked the fuck down. So what they did, after they cleared it out, they got all the manga people to come to the office, and they all came, and they drew mangas all over the walls, and then they sold tickets to let people come and look at it, and then they knocked it down, and then they moved to their new office. So here is all the pictures and video and whatnot of all the awesome stuff, all the best mangas in Japan drew on the walls in their office before losing it. Oh my god. If you care anything about manga, this is super awesome and important. So the book club book is Stasiland. We are on our way to PAX, or at PAX by the time you listen to this. We're presenting Bad Games in the Wolfman Theater at noon on Monday. Might not be a show or two. We'll see if we can do shows after PAX, because we might be tired from 4 days of PAX and the PAX charity event that's not PAX sanctioned. Yeah,
that we're going to
and also there's
PAX.
A pre-PAX day and a post-PAX day.
The pre-PAX Sky High Tabletop Play benefiting Food Lifeline, where we will be VIPs, running games for people, playing games with people, eating food with people.
Yep.
Good times. We got a fuck ton of videos from conventions up on the internet. Scott just put out a new episode of the newsletter.
Episode newsletter?
I was waiting for you to say something about episode.
Well,
Our newsletter is pretty boss, and people seem to really like it. So if you're not subscribed to it, better get subscribed, and maybe you can trade people to get them to forward you previous newsletters.
something like that.
Because like we get a lot of requests from people who subscribe, and they're like, "Hey, how can I get the old ones?" Like, yeah, you should have subscribed sooner.
Yeah,
We're not going to make an RSS feed of this shit, otherwise you won't subscribe.
that's a shame. Got to remind people once in a while we exist in their email box where they
Gonna give
actually
you guys
look. A place they actually look if they don't check our forums or don't use Twitter and don't use Facebook. People check their email at least once a day, hopefully, if they're not that disconnected. So we can get into their new email box once in a while to remind them when we exist. That should help, right?
Also, gonna give you guys a heads up on MagFest. It's a ways out, New Year's, but the hotel at the con, I hear, is already like 80% sold out.
Which is much better than other conventions that fill up instantly.
Yup, like PAX.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't go and get a hotel room right the fuck now. Why don't you have one already?
You should be at MagFest.
Why aren't you already at MagFest being like, if you're sitting there going like, yeah, I already got my room and ticket for MagFest and the transportation, then you're the smart person. If that's not you, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, MagFest, look, we like PAX a lot, if you couldn't tell. We like MagFest almost as much for very different reasons.
Not yet.
It's too soon.
Still
Too soon.
soon.
MagFest is the one con, if you want to just hang out with us and play games at 4 a.m, we're actually just hanging out playing games at 4 a.m.
That's all you do at MagFest.
Yeah.
It's always 4 a.m. You're always hanging out. You're always playing games, except for the Machine Supremacy concert.
Yes, Machine Supremacy's first
time
appearance.
in U.S. ever. I've waited over a decade, and now I am rewarded.
This is one of those things where every year I tell everyone I know who works for the Penny Arcade Expo, I'm like, yeah, get Machine Supremacy. Come on, just get him, please. Get
But
him. Just get him.
MagFest
Get him.
did it.
Get him. MagFest got
That's
him.
how badass MagFest is. They got what PAX could not or would not get.
So, I feel like this is the hot show that we should talk about. And for all of you who complain that we don't talk about anime that's on right now, one, we're actually watching a shit ton of anime. Didn't we just review Shinsekai Yori not that long ago?
I didn't
Two,
watch that.
I did, and we reviewed it. Well, I reviewed it with Emily. But Attack on Titan, Shingeki no
Yep,
Kyojin.
just as with ponies, people just talk, and with Madoka, people talked about it so goddamn much.
Yep,
they talked about it way more than everything else.
Emily and I started watching it before you did.
Yeah, but people talked about it so the fuck much that it's like, well, I guess I have to at least take a look at that because no one will shut up about it. They're not shutting up about it 10 times more than usual.
Shut up, shutting up.
That's right. So after I got, I had some free time, enough free time to read comics. So I had free time enough to watch anime. So I went out and I watched the Attack on Titans. Actually, I got 5 volumes of the manga and then watched the anime.
Yep. Now Scott
I've seen
started reading the manga.
I've seen 20 anime episodes, which I think is all of them.
Yeah, because one
And
came
I've
out.
read 5 volume mangas, which is all of them that are in English that you can buy, but you can read more if you scan.
Now, Scott started reading the manga, and I was like, just watch the show. The show is way better. Because I'd flipped through the manga, and it was kind of meh. The show, it's kind of like Death Note. Death Note as a comic is great, but the anime is just the comic plus music, so you might as well just read the comic.
Okay.
But Nodame Cantabile is a comic about music. Reading the comic is not as good as watching the anime, because in the anime you actually get to hear it.
Yeah, same thing with like Beck.
So
Or Initial
while
D.
there are often anime and manga pairs where they are the exact same plot, sometimes you want to watch or read one of them over the other one because there's a reason to.
Sometimes you want to mix it up. I watched Hajime no Ippo, and then when there was no more anime left, even though more is coming out this season, I switched over to the manga.
Yep, Monster, just because of who made it and because of what it is, I prefer the comic, and I read the comic. The show seems okay, but the comic, I burned through it so fast because I really needed to know what it was about.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a weird thing, because usually when you talk about adaptations, it's like, man, they really fucked up that Hobbit movie, right? And certain characters change, right? But with the manga anime, usually the adaptations, they're not always 100% faithful, but
Well,
they're
look at-
super faithful. So the question is like, well, what do you do? One, both? The other, I don't know. But
well, look at the Fullmetal Alchemist situation. We have a show following a manga, but then the manga, the show diverges from the manga because it's coming out faster than the manga.
Anyway, so with that's a done manga, but I have all the volumes.
Yeah.
I haven't read that.
But I bring up Fullmetal Alchemist for one reason. We're going to talk a lot about Attack on Titan. We'll avoid spoilers. We might spoil some stuff in the very end of the show. We'll warn you. No spoilers yet. But it's really good. I really, really like it, but I'm going to warn you right now. This is the Fullmetal Alchemist of this season.
It is.
It is.
I've been thinking the same thing.
The Fushigi Yugi of this season. It is great. I love every goddamn second of it. Every episode ends with me going fuck and waiting 7 days to see the next episode, only to go fuck again.
Even though it's kind of predictable, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but even then, I predict things, but then
everything I predicted has been right so far.
Yeah, but they're always crooked slightly so. Like, I expected the plan for the most
I don't know
episodes
how
to not
the
work
actual
out.
how things are going to play out. I just know what the facts are of certain things.
Well, I knew this
they're
plan was going to
obvious.
fail because the preview of the previous episode. You can tell when a show is like this when I watch the previews built into the show, because usually I have a policy of not watching them. All my whole anime life, I have not watched the previews.
All right. I watch them sometimes. You know when I watch previews?
The second time I watch a show.
Initial D. Don't miss it.
But seriously, the reason this show is a Fullmetal Alchemist is because Fullmetal Alchemist, Fushigi Yugi, Attack on Titan have a very common set of traits. One, the plot is really interesting. To the point that I have a strong desire to find out all the proper nouns and verbs.
Yep.
I want to know what the fucking Titans are. I want to know what alchemy is. I want to know if Mikasa will ever shut the fuck up.
Tomahawk.
But Miyaka. But two, I don't have any desire to rewatch the show.
No, it's like Attack on Titan. It's like I read a volume. It's like done. Right? And that's how I can sort of get a tell feeling that, yeah, Attack on Titan, once it's over and there's no more new animes and no more new mangas, I think it might fade away.
It will.
Not to say that it's bad. Fullmetal Alchemist isn't bad. It's
and
just
you still
forgotten.
see Fullmetal Alchemist cosplays.
Okay,
but
yeah.
it's
Just not
fading.
nearly as many.
Yes, Fushigi Yugi is pretty much gone at this point.
But not like Madoka, which it's like I watched it and then I just watched it fucking again. And I watched it again.
And not even that. While we were still watching it, or right after we just watched it, we'd meet someone and we're like, oh, you haven't seen Madoka yet?
Let's
Here.
watch it the hell again.
Let's watch the first 3 episodes right now. I do that with Giant Robo. I'll do that with Escaflowne. I have not done that with Attack on Titan. When I meet someone who hasn't seen it, who should,
just like, yeah, go see it.
you know what? Yeah, I say, oh, go watch it and tell me when you've caught up, and then we'll talk about it.
Right.
I have no desire to watch any episode of it again. I might watch an individual scene again because the scenes are really well animated and really well done. But
I watched the opener because that music, the first opener.
yeah, you know what that song is?
Second opener's not bad, but first opener.
Most people, because that
There's a
opener,
reason everyone's remixing that shit.
Yes, that's the song you listen to on a loop while you're taking the test or driving to the con. Yeah, most people know that song in their head as mumble a mumble a Jaeger.
That's pretty much it.
I do like the second opener a lot.
It's good. I like the second opener.
but notice again,
It doesn't live up to the second opener.
Well,
first opener.
it's just the same with Fullmetal Alchemist. The opener kept changing as the show progressed.
Yeah, but the second one was better.
Gundam Seed, the opener kept changing as
The first
show
one was the
progressed.
best.
But-
Utena.
Yeah? Well,
Which-
Lieutenant
which-
only changes once.
Oh, that's the closer.
Yeah, the closer and opener change. Sailor Moon changes every season, but with this one, when the opener changes, it's because the show goes to a very different place and different characters matter a lot.
I do want to say the only other openers that I can think of that have the same power, not in terms of just raw quality, right? But in terms
All
of
right, power. We're just
in terms
talking
of
power.
powerful openings, right? It's like Big
Not
O.
Initial D, because Initial D is only
No,
powerful
Initial
for
D is
us.
not powerful.
It's powerful for us, not for
All
normal
right,
people.
obviously Attack on Titan,
Yep.
Big O, Evangelion,
Yep. Fading fast.
yeah.
Madoka, no.
No,
Madoka's
not powerful at all.
On purpose, not powerful.
Talking about openers that like punch you in the face, like, I'm opening this anime. Here
Doom.
comes anime.
Doom, the game.
Yeah.
The opening music to the first level. Oh, man.
Anyway, that
So-
is not that many, and this is up there.
If you have not watched Attack on Titan, here's how I'll sell it to you. Attack on Titan is about a world where there are humans, and they've recused themselves behind gigantic walls that they would be hard pressed to build these walls again today.
Right, like someone just, I knew that there was behind this thing with walls and giants and whatnot, but I didn't realize until I watched the show just how big the walls are, right? It's like you think the walls are Gundam size. It's like, no, they're Ava-sized walls.
Yeah, Avas would have a hard time knocking these walls down.
I think an Ava could step over the wall.
It would have to vault over the wall.
It could do it.
It could vault over the wall, but
the Avas are bigger than Colossal Titan. We need to I think we need to make a JPEG showing
but I'm saying,
Ava versus Colossal Titan
without
size.
weapons, just an Ava would be hard pressed to knock the wall down.
An Ava would just punch it down.
It would take it a while to punch it down.
Maybe.
The wall is pretty fucking big.
It is. It's made of rock, though. Anyway, but yeah, the walls are gigantic, and it's not the thing about the walls that's not gigantic is the height. It's really the length, right? It's the circumference of the wall Maria, the outer wall, is so gigantic that there's like multiple towns and cities. It's like basically almost the size of a country, a small country. I don't know, like, it's not as big as, say, Luxembourg inside of it, but it's big.
Well, here's the thing.
There's a lot of land in there.
There are these concentric sets of walls that are huge, that have been around for as long as humanity
can
has
remember
historical records available to
which is
the general
really
public.
Only a few hundred years.
Yes.
It's not long. They have a short memory.
As far back as history goes, these walls have been there. And outside of these walls are gigantic, naked fanboys that eat people.
Yep.
That's the world. That's the plot.
Most of the world, you don't even know if this is like an Earth. I mean, it looks like an Earth. It's got forests and trees.
I am done comparing shit to Earth. People always ask, oh, is it set in a post-apocalyptic Earth, a pre-Earth? It doesn't matter. The reason stories are set on things like Earth is because that's where we're set.
Right. It's some kind of, it's an Earth-like.
Our Earth or not.
No, it doesn't. But it's an Earth-like planet, right? In terms of it has forests and trees.
Which again,
and
like Fullmetal Alchemist, it's an Earth-like planet.
Yeah,
and
grass,
that's it.
Right? But humans basically don't know what's far away outside the walls. They've only been outside the walls like 50 times ever.
In fact, the people
and usually most of the people who go out come back dead, or always.
Yep. Now that's the world of the show. There are these gigantic, horrifyingly disturbing giants that eat people,
and they're super. You basically can't beat them.
They're
super
mindless
dangerous.
and scary. Like when humans tangle with titans,
it's like fast zombies.
Yes,
you can't. Nothing
but
you can
it's not
do.
just fast zombies.
Fast
Imagine
giant
fast
zombies
that are 30, 40 meters tall.
Well, there's some that are only 5 meters tall, which is still gigantic, right? That's like. You
realize
imagine
my
if
new
you
joke to this day, my new joke at every con when a fanboy is approaching us at a table is going to be 2-meter Titan incoming.
Yeah, right.
2-meter class.
Now think about this, right? Shaq is huge, right? If you see Shaq coming, you're like, oh, fuck me, right? That guy's huge. The smallest Titan is like 2 Shaqs tall. It's like, just kill yourself, right? You're not going to beat him, especially at basketball.
Yep, but the Titans are huge and unbeatable, and the plot of the show begins right away. You've got a bunch of characters doing their stuff.
They're not unbeatable individually, but they're unbeatable collectively.
There's a military.
There's so many of them, they can't beat them.
And there's a military, and, they do the expeditions, people die, but basically the world is pretty stable. Titans have not been a serious threat inside of the walls for over 100 years.
Yep. Basically, the wall is big enough that even the biggest Titans can't get through it, so the humans sort of live happily inside the walls and, just sort of defend just in case, looking out over the walls to make sure Titans don't get in.
And then one day, a gigantic fucking Titan, bigger than anyone has ever seen, just appears and fucking kicks one of the walls down.
What the fuck?
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. It's on.
And I can't spoil anything else because this is a show like Fullmetal Alchemist where a lot of the enjoyment of watching the show is the, oh, fuck, did that just happen?
Yep.
So don't read ahead and spoilers and crap.
It doesn't matter because the thing is, a lot of the stuff is just so plainly obvious that even if you don't, for example, right, there's in addition to the Colossal Titan, there's another Titan called the Armor Titan. And you look at him and he has this hair.
And then later...
And then there's another character who has the same exact goddamn hair. Now, it's like, have I actually seen anything in the manga or anime that 100% verifies that character and that Titan are related? No. But you know what? I will bet my entire wallet, which actually has a lot of money in it right now, that that guy is that Titan. They have the same goddamn hair. They're just giving it away. It's a freebie, right? And there's another one just like that. 2 characters that look exact. It's like there's so many things just given away, but there are also things that are not given away, like the Colossal Titan itself. There isn't a character that looks like that. I'm guessing
it's King Bradley.
It's got to be King Bradley. It could be. It's like the Akio, right? A character revealed later, or it could be. It can't be. I thought it was Pixis because he was bald, and the Colossal Titan is also bald. But there's a scene where the Colossal.
Forget that. Pixis is just too cool.
Pixis is too cool, but they showed the Colossal Titan attacking while Pixis is simultaneously playing chess with some noble.
Pixis
so
is one of my
him.
favorite minor characters. He's that badass in the background that we love so much.
Yep. Another thing about this show is it sort of has these sort of arcs in a sense, right? That's why the opener changed. And it happens in the manga is the same way, where the beginning of the show is sort of like the intro. And then there's a whole sequence of the training. And it's sort of like the main characters are in the military, training, and then eventually joining the actual military, right? So the whole first part of the show, while things go down, is the training. Then once they join the military, it's like the opener changes, the characters change, all the characters that are in the town are left behind, and now we're focusing on, the outside. And the only characters that stick with you are like the few central ones that were in the training that are now trained, and all these secondary characters swap out. And they're not dead, most of them anyway, right? Well, some of them. Who knows? People dying all over the place, and there's giants eating everybody, right? But, the main characters basically move from one group of friends to another. It's sort of like graduating from high school to college.
But that's the interesting thing about the show. It moves quickly like this, and the characters we're focusing on, it jumps around a lot, and it's perfectly willing to leave major characters by the wayside for a long time.
Right, and also kill people.
Yes.
But it makes they achieve the goal of making the world super dangerous by fucking killing people off, LOGA style, like give them a name, now they're dead.
Yep, but the thing is,
and at the same time, it also achieves the Urasawa thing of introduce a new character, make you care about them right away, as opposed to, oh, these new characters, I don't care about them. Yes, you do.
The show just does a really good job of driving home the point that a lot of people are dying and that every one of these people is just as cool as the main characters. And
even the most badass people are all fucking scared to shit of Titans.
And a lot of the badass people also just fucking die. Out of nowhere.
Super badasses who seemed invincible.
Characters that you would... It'd be like if you're watching Utena.
Right, like that.
And Mickey just dies in a duel.
Yep. Well, think about it. There's that guy who's got the gray hair who he has such a high Titan kill count, but he's super annoying.
Yep.
I'm so sure that guy's going to die.
No, I don't think he's going to die.
He's going to get killed. So,
I think characters I care more about are going to die.
That guy is the perfect guy to get killed.
Nah.
Also, the girl he's always arguing with.
My favorite character in the show is the scientist girl who studies the Titans.
I don't know if she'll die.
No, I'm saying she's my favorite character.
Okay.
Because she's just that kind of like the Fluttershy-looking girl in Little Witch Academia. She's creepy, and there's a great scene where she's like, you want to hear about my experiments on Titans? Let me tell you about them. And then all these badasses who have seen bloodshed and death for much of their lives are like, I'm going to be ill. I got to leave the room.
I think I don't know my favorite character is, but
Levi.
Levi is basically, he is the King Cosma of Attack on Titan.
Well, there's a scene where he beats the main character up, and it's one of those scenes where it's not necessarily particularly especially violent, especially in a show where people are getting crushed and eaten and bitten left and right. But then this one scene where a human just physically punches up another human is so brutal to watch.
Yep.
It's almost hard to watch.
I think my favorite character, as usual, are like these secret characters, right? There was a trial in the show, and the guy who comes to, basically be the judge of the trial, because it was a military trial, was the head of the entire military, all 3 branches.
That's either going to be...
That guy's one step away from the king, and he was super just and awesome. So that guy is like...
That either means
that's the kind of guy I like.
He's a King Bradley, or he's a good guy.
He could be a good guy, but he's one step away from the king. He's the head of the whole military, the 5-star general, the chief of the joint chief, the secretary of defense. He's the number one guy.
I really like Erwin, but I'm pretty sure he's going to die at some point.
I don't know. Erwin's cool, but Erwin's also got a lot of mystery.
The show also gets points when you learn about character backstories that the backstories are not what you would expect.
Nope.
Characters have pretty rough pasts. And a lot of this is really kind of just shown to you along the way. Like, oh, that guy, yeah, his family was sent off to die outside the walls because there wasn't enough food.
Yep.
We get that in a flashback.
I also like how the focus moves around a lot. Like, Mikasa is a major character overall, but in the more recent episodes, basically you hardly see her at all.
Yeah,
right?
it's all
like
about
this
Erwin
almost,
and Eren. And
yeah, there's almost no focus on her right now because she's not important right now. But I'm sure she's gonna get back into it in the next episode because she got like one scene of like, oh, Eren must be that way. I'm going. So she's heading into the fray.
well, she's also the last Asian.
That's true. All right, but yeah, there's a reason, everyone's talking about this show because it's the hot show right now. Will it have long staying power?
Definitely not.
Probably not, most likely. But, Fullmetal Alchemist, if you haven't seen it, is still worth watching now, but it's just,
It's not
it's just
worth
not
watching
as
again.
great as, anything else. So Attack on Titan's the kind of thing you watch once and that's it.
Perennially, there are these blockbuster anime that everyone watches together in the anime world. They're super good, but they're just not particularly memorable beyond that.
This is not going to be an all-time great anime. It's just a good anime that's hot right now.
I feel like these shows string you along because you really, really need to know all the proper nouns.
Yep.
You really want to know what the Titans are and where they come from. And the show does a good job of teaching you about the Titans as their...
But like 10 years from now, when someone says, what great animes should I watch? No one's going to say Attack on Titan.
Nope. Unless they're getting into the list of, oh, you should watch a blog. You know how we do panels? We're like, yeah, you should all watch Fushigi Yugi to know what blockbuster anime were like in the late 90s, early 2000s in the US.
I should just go home and watch Madoka again.
Yeah. Madoka, Utena, Ava, Eska.
Oh, right. I should watch Utena. We're doing that thing.
Yeah, we should do that thing.
And I kind of want to real bad. All right.
Yeah, but all with the deaths of characters, like kind of give you an example of how well the show does the kind of arbitrary and capricious nature of the Titans and death. There's one character who's pretty cool, and he just kind of disappears at one point in this big sort of action scene going on.
Yeah, there's so many characters that when they don't get scenes,
like you don't notice.
You don't notice that they're not. That guy hasn't. You have to. I've been paying close attention, like who shows up on screen and who doesn't, and it's sort of like, I don't want to say this, but it's like a MOBA. Like middle is missing, right? It's like, oh, I haven't seen because everyone's got this, maneuver gear, and they're flying all over town and fighting Titans all over the place. So people are moving real fast, going everywhere. It's like everyone's Spider-Man, basically.
Yep.
So
and the animation of the Spider-Manning is great.
And people are splitting up and grouping together all the time, like D&D parties, so that are all sort of together. So it's like, oh, someone, went off. I haven't seen that person in like 10 minutes, and they're not with the people they were with. Where are they?
So one super
are
badass
they dead
character,
or oh no, they just showed up again. So it's like sometimes they're dead, sometimes they show up again and do something awesome.
or they tried to save somebody and got squished. But there's one super badass character who just you don't notice for a while, and then later you kind of forget about him. And then after this battle, they just find his body. They don't even know how he died.
Nope.
He died alone.
He wasn't
and
that
anonymous.
badass. He was just really nice.
He died alone and anonymous, and they just found his body. No heroic moment, no last words. They found his rotting corpse, and that's it.
Yep.
And the physiology and the mystery of the Titans and how they work and why they eat people and what happens to people they eat is all just
Terrible Secret of Space.
Really
the greatest
interesting.
thing in all of anime, the Terrible Secret of Space.
But there's two kinds of Terrible Secret of Space shows. This is the show where the Terrible Secret of Space is 80% of why you're watching the show.
That's
you
any show that
know.
has a Terrible Secret of Space, that's going to be the reason I'm watching.
And the other 20% is just the characters are really good. They usually act really smartly, or sometimes they fuck up.
There's never a case where it's like, oh man, why is so and so stupid? Because if they need to make someone do something dumb, they don't have to make the person dumb. They can because the Titans are just so dangerous, and the people are freaking out because giant Titans just bit your friend's legs off and they're crawling at you. So they never have to make someone dumb as an excuse for them to do something that is not the best thing. They just make the person, emotionally freaking out. Or, the person was really good and did the smart thing, but it's just not good enough because the Titans are that dangerous. And that really, you never, hate on characters for anything like that.
Now, it's obvious based on the progression of the manga and the fact that there's a 26-episode season of this, that season 1 is going to be like the end of season 1 of Gundam Seed.
And if they don't continue...
Or Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah, if they don't continue...
I think they will. I think the show is
the
really
anime,
popular.
You're just going to have to read the manga. And the thing with the manga is it will get you all your answers, right? And they're going to actually, in the US, they're going to start putting out 1 volume per month and catch the fuck up right away because they realized they're striking the iron while it's hot. But it's just not as good as the anime. It's the same story, but the craftsmanship of the manga is flawed. There's some bad art, and I don't mean bad art like it's a style I don't like, because I actually do like the style that is different, but it's like, oh, the anatomy is all fucked in that panel. Oh, that person had totally the wrong facial expression in that panel that didn't really make it look like the feeling that they were supposed to be having.
Yep. Now the anime does a good job.
These panels are in the wrong order.
The anime does a good job of taking that sort of sunken eye socket. Like there's all these weird faces that the characters have. The anime does a good job of using that to great effect.
But it uses it lightly. It's like the anime has more of an, I don't want to say normal anime style, but a style that has more in common with, say Fullmetal Alchemist kind of style, right? But it sort of still applies a light veneer of the manga style instead of going heavy on it. And it makes it more, I guess, intelligible to figure out what the hell's going on. And also, like, the action sequences are like the exact opposite of Akira, which is the best action sequences of any manga ever. It's like you can't even tell what the person's doing with the Titan until it's over, and you're like, oh, he beat it. Oh, he died.
I think you were the one who was like, it's kind of like Naito.
Yeah. It's a little bit like the Trigun manga. It was like you flip through a Trigun manga action scene.
It's like you're on one page.
You don't know who's shooting who, and at the end, it's like, okay, Wolfwood won.
Yeah, like you're on a page and something's happening. You flip to the next page and you're like, oh, I must have skipped a bunch of pages because the pages were stuck together. And you flip back and nope, you didn't skip any pages.
Nope.
That's just what was on the next page.
Yep.
The backgrounds in the show and the skies are just ridiculous. Like, they remind me of Makoto Shinkai skies.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything about this show, but I love it in the same way I love Fullmetal Alchemist. It was my number one priority in life while FMA was coming out to see new episodes, and I have not watched it again, and I have no plans to ever watch it again. But yeah, we'll do a final thoughtsy show once it's done, because the plot might be dumb. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the terrible secret of space could be a dumb secret of space, and as soon as like a dumb thing is revealed, like you're really anxious to learn like this horrible secret. Like there's a whole thing about like there's a basement the main character has a key to, and it's like, what's in the basement? And I'm sure we'll eventually find out what's in the basement. But if something dumb is in the basement,
it's just his dad's porn collection.
Yeah, if there's something
like in Staring Up at the Half Moon.
Yeah, if there's something dumb in the basement, that could actually sort of flop the whole show. It'd be like, yeah, it's worth watching up until the basement, so just stop, because then that'll sort of ruin everything else that happened before it. It's like, oh, I'm anticipating this present. Oh, my anticipation feels so good. It feels so good. I want to open the present. I'm feeling real good with all this anticipation. I'm opening the present. I'm feeling really good opening this present because it's so fun, and I'm finally letting my anticipation go. I've got some hype, and then I open it, and it's like some fucking underwear. And now all that was ruined. I had good feelings, but now I have shit feelings, and that sort of ruins those good feelings, even though I already had them. So you should not open the present.
At the same time, the show could escalate into Ava territory if the secret of space is so transcendently good.
It's not going to happen.
No, but there's a chance. We don't know.
That's not possible.
There's a chance.
Impossible.
There's always a chance.
Impossible.
So yeah, watch your Attack on Titan. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.